This is China before the 1978, once an agrarian society which struggled to set foot on the economic prosperity due to its state agenda of a socialist revolution. Fast forward 42 years, China has gone through a massive shift from a poor economy to one of the most influential countries in the world today. In fact, China today has a nominal GDP of $14 trillion, which is just behind the United States of America and is projected to have an economy that is 2 times the economy of US by 2050. Now you might be wondering, how did China's growth to supremacy happen so quickly? Well, to understand this, we need to comprehend the 3 pillars on which China is built on. But before that, let's dig into some history. Well, you see, for China to emerge as a new powerhouse, it had to diverge from some of its Mao Zedong's philosophy and his dream to create a communist utopia and abolish capitalism. But that all changed in 1980 when Deng Xiaoping loosened state control over China's economy and permitted private enterprise. Many reforms which would turn China into what it is today. Which brings us to our first pillar, China's civilization state. China, if we look into history, has always been one of the wealthiest nations in the world, and its contribution to its culture, science, and art can attest to its rich history. Even though the Industrial Revolution shifted the power to European nations in the 1900s, China was doing considerably well compared to other countries, even though China's economy was only based on the agricultural sector. Before its renaissance in its manufacturing and tech industry, you see, China was already the 7th largest economy in the world just by utilizing its agricultural sector. But this drastically changed when China changed some of its ways to govern the nation. Fast forward now, China accounts for 50% of the global manufacturing and industries such as automobile, semiconductor, pharma are deeply rooted and contributes to about 40% to its GDP. Today, Chinese consumers make up to a third of the $1.3 trillion luxury market that alone accounts for 1/3 of all the customers. Now, the second pillar would be China's notion of race. Most people in the Western world know very little of the Eastern history and culture. Well, there is nothing wrong with that. But what the world is missing out on is the insight on how Eastern culture functions is fundamentally different than the Western ones. China, over its cultural existence, has managed to preserve its culture and heritage. The Han period in China is considered a golden age in Chinese history where Chinese imperialism flourished and grew to what we know as Eastern China today. The people living in these areas started identifying themselves as Hans and has remained the same for the past millennia. Although China is officially composed of 56 ethnic groups, but 91.59% of the overall population still identifies themselves of Han Chinese. The other 55% of the ethnic group make up the minority, consisting of 8.41% of the total population. What this does to the society is that it creates unity and stability amongst the people. And for a country, stability is the foundation of any good economy. And we see that today in China, where China's strength lies in stability. Now, the third pillar would be China's nature of state and its relationship to society. It was the war in the 1900s that led to China's poverty, and it was this very reason that Mao Zedong wanted a socialist country where every man was equal. In 1949, he formed a one-party nation, the People's Republic of China. Now, when this Communist Party came into power, it straight went to business and focused on industrializing the nation to come out of its economic state. But this was done very differently. It was done by nationalizing the industries, meaning the Communist Party took control over these industries, in turn offering prestigious government positions to people. Declining this would mean annexation of the property and being labeled as a class enemy. This deeply centralized the power to one party, where every decision was taken by this one party. And this did not bode well with the economy. This is when China adopted a capitalistic communism approach and in 1980s opened its economy for foreign trade, and the rest is history. So this was China and its path to economic success. There are several other factors that came into play in making China, and it would be really difficult to cover all aspects of such a huge country in such a short video. I kept this video short, highlighting only the major events that shaped China. I hope you found this helpful. And if you liked my content, please do subscribe and smash the like button down below. I'll come up with more content. Until next time, me out.